Yo, what is good, YouTube, and welcome back to another JC2K video. In today's video, we're going to be doing episode number 11 of I Build Your Teams, the series where I build my viewers' teams into the best teams possible for my team unlimited and/or competitive play based on how much MT they have, what their team is looking like, all that stuff. Before we hop into this video, if you haven't, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'm uploading every single day. We really appreciate your support, trying to grind toward that 3,000 subscriber mark on the channel. Again, I want to say thank you for all the recent support. Y'all have been absolutely killing it, and I really do appreciate it. But yeah, without further ado, let's not waste any time. Let's hop right into it. First team today comes in from MiniCoach. He's got 700k to work with, plays on current gen. He's got Steve, Francis, and Gary as point guards. Clay and Card at point. Shooting guard is perfect. I definitely wouldn't change that. KD and Silas, also very solid. Carmelo, Dolph, Giannis, and KG as your front court. Again, really, really good. The one thing I will say that I'd probably consider changing is considering Carmelo's a free card, Dolph is not, KG's a free card, Giannis, I think, is the best power forward in the game. What I would consider doing is selling this Dolph, moving Carmelo to the backup 4, putting Giannis at the starting 4, and picking up a guy like 75th D-Rob. I really think D-Rob is the best center in the game. Definitely think you have the MT to go ahead and go pick one up as well, and you can probably get a relatively souped one for a pretty decent price now that it's post 250. And that's probably the main upgrade I would look to consider, just because I think that would give you more size in your front court and your starting lineup. Carmelo and Dolph are similar cards, I think, coming off the bench. I really like Carmelo's release. I think he's really good at the 4, and he's definitely a free card, which Dolph will still get you a couple 100,000 MT. So for me personally, that's probably the direction that I would go right now, is looking to pick up a D-Rob at the center position. Otherwise, I think your team is super solid. Might probably start Gary over Steve Francis as well, but again, I think that's kind of opinion. So yeah, besides that, really, really good squad. Definitely like the way we're starting off this video. Next team today comes in from Say. He's got 1.5 mil to work on. Penny and Steve is very solid. Harden and Clay also really good. AK and Roko is just fine. Dolph, Jonathan Isaac, D-Rob, and Mikan. D-Rob and Mikan definitely wouldn't touch it. Penny and Steve, again, I definitely think it's cool. I'd probably start Clay and bring Harden off the bench, but again, I think that is really solid. Love AK. Roko's decent. Dolph is really good, and Jonathan Isaac is solid. But with 1.5 mil, I think you can stand to make a couple of upgrades to this backup, like shooting guard and power forward, or small forward and power forward. Not that I think these cards are bad. I think they definitely can get the job done. But for me personally, I think picking up a guy like potentially, I don't know, Paul George to play the 3 and then bringing AK off the bench at the 3 might be a solid upgrade. And then at the 4, you can go pick up a guy like Giannis if you want to. He's the best guy at that position in the game. Or you could potentially consider going somewhere else, like a cheaper option, whether that's trying to grind for Paul Silas or look for a guy like KD or something like that. You got a couple of options, but I definitely would try to upgrade this backup small forward and power forward position. I think that's really the only thing you need to focus on with your team, though. I really do think you got a super solid squad. I just definitely would consider looking for a guy like Paul George, maybe a KD, maybe a Giannis, someone along those lines. Next team today comes in from Firestone. He plays on current. He's trying to be prepared for season 3. And I'm looking at this squad, and I just think we got to make some changes. I mean, you got Brandon Ingram and Kyle Korver in your last 3. Why do we even have them on the team? They're not going to do anything. Marcus Smart, I really do like. I like Marcus Smart a lot better than Kyle Lowry. Sell Lowry, sell Ingram, sell Korver, put Marcus Smart at the starting point guard. Maxey off the bench is decent. Glenn Rice, sell him, please. Kawhi, too late, sell him. Bam and Z is cool. Roko and Jonathan is cool. Mikhail is fine. Definitely would add Eddie Jones to replace Glenn Rice at this starting shooting guard position. Donovan Mitchell is decent off the bench. If you're trying to save MT for season 3, definitely would sell Lowry, sell Ingram, sell Korver, start Marcus Smart at the 1, pick up Eddie Jones instead of Glenn Rice. Pick up a guy like Jonathan. I know you already have Jonathan Isaac. I'm tripping. Who could you pick up for the backup small forward position instead of Kawhi? Actually, you know what I would do? I'd pick up a guy like AK. Start AK at the 3 and then bring Mikal Bridges off the bench. Gives you a really, really elite lock on both your starting lineup and the bench. I think Kawhi is decent, but I just think he's a little bit outdated at this point. So that's probably where I would consider going, is running a lineup of Marcus Smart, Eddie Jones, AK, Roko, and Bam, and then a Maxey. Mitchell is fine for now, but at some point you're going to want to upgrade the shooting guard position, whether that means adding Harden and moving Eddie Jones to the bench or something like that. And then Mikal at the backup 3, Jonathan Isaac, and Z. That will basically probably cost you about as much MT as you have right now, and your team will be upgraded. Then you can save the rest of your MT for season 3. Next team today comes in from Selling. He's a 300, unsure about his backup guards. He's got about 200k to spend. Penny, Clay, AK, Dolphin, D-Rob is amazing. Mikan and KG is really solid. Gerald Wallace is a free card as well, so definitely would run him. GP and Jaw. This one confuses me a little bit, and I think that's kind of what you're saying, unsure about backup guards. I think there's a spot for James Harden at your backup too, and then it's just basically up to you to pick which card you prefer between Gary and Ja. For me personally, I prefer a guy like Gary. I think his defense is really valuable and his improved size. Ja is a better offensive card overall, so it really kind of depends what you're looking for, I should say, in a card. So for me personally, I would probably run Gary at the backup point guard and James Harden at the backup too, but you might want to go Ja and James Harden. But that's really the only upgrade I would make, is picking up Harden and then deciding who you want to run at that backup point guard. Otherwise, I think your team is solid. I definitely don't think there's anything that you need to change currently. Yeah, next team comes in from Buck. He's got 300 KMT. He's probably not going to get Gary because he broke his monitor. Good stuff, Bucky. Cannot be breaking our monitor, man. Find something else to break that's not so expensive. But point being, 300 KMT. Penny, Clay, AK, Batum, Mikan is solid. Francis, JB, Robert Covington, Josh Smith, and Miles Turner. With 300 KMT, I think the best upgrade for you would be picking up a guy like Dolph Schayes at the 4 and moving Batum to the bench. Sell Josh Smith. That's about all I do for right now. In all honesty, I think everything else is super solid. I don't think you need to do anything else, but definitely would probably pick up a guy like Dolph Schayes at the 4, Batum off the bench, and otherwise, I think you're really chilling right now. You could even sell Batum and run a guy like Jonathan Isaac at the backup 4. He's going to be even cheaper than Batum, so you can save a little bit of that MT. So that's an option, but definitely not something you have to do. But I definitely think your team is solid. That's probably the only upgrade I would make, is to improve that power forward position with a guy like Dolph Schayes. Second to last team today comes in from Cholo. He's got 302 KMT. John Morant, Sleepy. I don't like Sleepy at this point, I'll be honest. That's probably something you'd want to upgrade. Clyde is fine. Eddie Jones is good. Carmelo, Havlicek stinks. Millsap is Covington's solid. Wang is good. And then Ayton, these guys are free cards, so I'm cool with that. But for me personally, definitely want to upgrade from Sleepy Floyd. You got 300 KMT, which is definitely a solid amount. I would recommend personally going in the direction of a guy like Penny Hardaway. You can play Penny at the starting point guard position, bring Ja off the bench, and then you replace Sleepy, take him out of your lineup. Penny's really cheap right now. I definitely think that would be a good upgrade. Next, I would probably definitely sell John Havlicek, because I do not like this card. Sell Paul Millsap as well. Actually, I don't dislike Havlicek, but it's just not going to work, I don't think, at the 3 right now. He's kind of small for the 3 as well. But yeah, so definitely sell Havlicek, sell Millsap, sell Ayton. Buy a guy like Jonathan Isaac to play the 4. He's better than Millsap. In terms of budget centers, Miles Turner's actually go George Mikan. Pick up a George Mikan to start at your center position. Bring Wang off the bench, because Mikan's also, isn't he like 40, 50 KMT? Like, he's a really good value, him and Penny Hardaway both. So definitely pick up Penny, pick up Mikan. You can move these 2 guys to the bench, Ja and Wang, and then sell Millsap, replace him with a guy like Jonathan Isaac, and then the last thing to do is replace your backup 3. And I think that's really a matter of opinion in terms of what you want to do. You could pick up a guy like Andre Kirilenko, and that's probably the direction I would go. Also could try to grind for a guy like Paul Silas as well. Even could throw ML Carr in there temporarily until we get a better budget 3. So you got a couple options there. Definitely, if you make those few changes, I think your team is going to be looking a lot better. The last team today comes in from G Torres. He's got about 380 KMT. I can't speak. Ja and Francis is solid. Clay and Marcus Smart. I'm not sure about Smart at the 2. I'd rather run him at the 1, but I think he's decent. Carmelo, Jonathan Isaac, KG, AK, Arvidas, and Moses Malone. Okay, the weakest spot on your team for sure, I would say, is this Moses Malone card. I don't think he's a bad card per se, but I definitely think with 380 KMT, you might as well sell him and buy a guy like Mikan. I think Mikan is a much better card than Moses Malone, in my personal opinion, and they're very similar in terms of price point. So that's probably the one place I would definitely look to upgrade without a doubt, would be that backup center. Pick up a guy like Mikan. You can start Mikan at the center, bring Sabonis off the bench, or even start Sabonis if you're high on Sabonis and bring Mikan off the bench. Either way, I think you're definitely going to see an improvement if you make that type of move on your team. And yeah, I think besides that, you pretty much could keep your team the way it is. I would probably look to consider replacing Marcus Smart with a guy like James Harden, because if you're going to run Smart, I would prefer to run him at the 1. He's a bit small at the 2, and I think he loses a little bit of his value as well if he is playing the 2 for your team. So picking up a guy like Harden as well might be a solid upgrade, but that's really up to you depending on what you want to do with your MT. But yeah, that is going to do it for this video. Hopefully you did enjoy. Hopefully I helped out your team if you did manage to be in the video. If you weren't in the video, make sure you follow me on Twitter. Be on the lookout for a tweet about this series every single Friday or Saturday nights. And yeah, drop your team out of there. I'll pick some more teams this next week, try to get to some new people. And yeah, I appreciate all the support as always. If you did enjoy, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe, and I'll be back with more 2K content very, very soon. I appreciate y'all. Peace.